Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to look at the equations of normals to a curve. The equations of normals to a curve. Now, I want us to take note of this in the equations of normals to a curve. That a normal to a curve at a point is a line perpendicular to the tangent to the curve at the given point. That a normal to a curve at a point is a line that is perpendicular to the tangent to the curve at the given point. Now, I want us to consider this, that if we have a curve like this, and we have a normal to the curve, we have a normal. That is a line that is perpendicular to the curve. This is the curve, and the line that is perpendicular is this one. So this line is a normal to this curve. It is perpendicular to this curve. This line is perpendicular to this curve. Now, and it is perpendicular at this point. It touches this curve at this point, and it is perpendicular at this point. Now, in the case of a tangent, let us have that is a curve like this, that a tangent is a line that touches the curve at a certain point. Now, this is a tangent to this curve. That is a tangent to that curve. Now, I want us to consider one question. I want us to consider one question that is a question that calls us to find, that is the equation of a normal to a curve. Now, let us consider this question for us to understand how you can find the equation of a normal to a curve. Now, the question is find the equation of a normal to the curve. This is the equation of the curve. Now, like in finding the equation of tangents, the first step that we always take is to find the gradient function of the curve. That is the first step that we shall take, that we find the gradient function of the curve. So the gradient function of the curve will be, that is dy over dx. That is, we differentiate this function of y with respect to x, and we have, that is, we bring this 3 here, and we less the power by 1. So it will be 3x raised to 3 minus 1. Then minus, this minus, the power of 1 here is, the power of x, not 1, but the power of x here is 1. Now, if we bring this 1 behind here, it will be 1 times, let us use bracket, that is 2x raised to 1, this one, then we less the power by 1, that way. Now, if we differentiate a constant, which is -1, we get 0. Now, we shall have, that is dy over dx will therefore be, that is 3x raised to 3 minus 1 is 2. Then minus, inside the bracket we have 2x raised to 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. X raised to 0 is 1. Times 2 is 2. Then times 1 is 2. This is the gradient function that we have. Now, since we have the gradient function as 3x squared minus 2, we need to find the value of the gradient by substituting the value of x with, that is 1, because we have been given, that is the point 1 comma -2. We have been given the point 1 comma -2. So we can say that that is at the point, that is 1 comma -2, our dy over dx will be, 3. Instead of x, we shall have, that is, we shall have 1, then squared minus 2. We have 3 into 1 squared. 1 squared is 1 times 3 is 3. 3 minus 2, it is 1. And therefore, our m1, which is the gradient of the curve, is 1. And we said earlier that m1 times m2 will be -1. That is the gradient, this is the gradient of the curve. That the gradient of the curve times the gradient of the normal to the curve is -1. That is m1 times m2 equals to -1. And therefore, our m1 is 1, then times m2 equals to -1. 1 times m2 is m2 equals to -1. Therefore, our m2 is -1. Now, since we have our m2 as -1, we shall proceed to find the equation of normal because we have this and the general points xy and the gradient which is -1. Therefore, we shall have, that is 1 comma -2, then the general points x comma y, then we have -1 as the gradient. Now, let us proceed to find the equation of normal. Now, we shall have, that is the change in y, y minus -2 over x minus 1 equals to -1, let's say over 1. So in this case, we shall have y plus 2 over x minus 1 equals to -1, let's say over 1. Then if we cross multiply, we shall have, that is 1 times y plus 2 equals to, this is -1 into x minus 1. And therefore we have 1 times the whole of this, we shall have y plus 2 equals to -1 times x will be -x. -1 times -1 is +1. And therefore y equals to, if we take +2 to the other side, it will be negative. And therefore we shall have -x plus 1 minus 2. And in this case, our y will be -x minus 2. That is -1, because +1 minus 2 is -1. And therefore, this one is the equation of normal to the curve.